Yes, it actually does help when you give this video a thumbs up or you leave a comment that has some substance to it, or maybe just say hello. That will work, but it helps with YouTube's algorithms because the more that people participate, that tells the algorithms that people are engaged in the video, and so they will promote the video and the channel because they think people like it. So if you do like it, say something, leave a comment. That helps. Give us a thumbs up. Now, let's talk about small talk. I know a lot of people who have autism. I know about a lot more people who have high functioning autism, Asperger syndrome, and one thing it seems that is almost universal is we don't like to engage in small talk. Okay, look, I got a secret for you. I want to clue you in on this. If you are autistic, I want you to know this because it's so very vitally important. When a neurotypical person approaches you and they say something about the weather, they don't care about the weather. That's just something to say. They do not care about the weather. Now, 99.99999% of all small talk begins with nice day today, or isn't it kind of warm today? Geez, it's going to rain tomorrow, or something along those lines. They don't care about the weather. So why are they saying it? Why do they even talk? Well, they just shut up and go on their way and mind their own business. Well, there's some good reasons for that. And as people with autism, we need to really understand what small talk is all about, and it's not about verbal communication. We already know what the weather is. We can see it. We can feel it. We've got our devices. We can go to the Weather Channel, and we probably do that every day, and we're already informed. You don't need to tell us. What are they doing? Why are they doing this? Well, the reason they do it is because they're creating what I call verbal, nonverbal communication. In other words, they just kind of feeling you out, checking you out, and also at the same time, I don't really know how to say this correctly, but they are displaying themselves. They are introducing themselves to you. That is to say, their personality, they're putting on their best front. They are saying verbally, nice day today, isn't it? But what they're saying verbally, non-verbally, is, I'm a friendly guy. I like to talk to people. I like you. Do you like me? That's what they're really saying. That is the message they're communicating. And when a neurotypical person hears that, then he's going to reciprocate with the same thing. He's going to say, yes, it is a nice day today. That's not what it means. What the neurotypical person means is, yes, I see you are a nice person, and guess what? I'm a nice person too, so I'm going to speak back to you. Well, what if it's not a nice person? Then they're not going to say anything. Okay, therein lies the problem. People with autism tend to not want to say anything. We try to get away from these people. If we possibly can. See somebody, we're taking a walking down the street, we see somebody coming toward us, oh, geez, they're going to talk to me. They're going to ask me about the weather, and I don't want to talk to these people because it just makes me so anxious, makes me nervous. And so we kind of look off in the distance, look up, maybe we got our headsets on, something, little earbuds, whatever, trying to fake that we're doing something, we're engaged in something else. So, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it, But what that communicates to this other person is, I'm not a likable person. I don't like you. I don't want to talk to you. And so the person doesn't like us. Then we wonder, well, what did I do? The answer is you didn't do anything. And therein, again, lies the problem. Okay, so how is all of this coming together? Here's what I see. Now, I know my experience is I tend to think very logically, and I think most people with autism do think very logically. They think in terms of, their thinking is very organized. I always like to bring up spreadsheets. We like things in a row. We like things orderly. And we also have simultaneously this strange aversion to socializing. And when somebody engages us in any form of socializing whatsoever, including small talk, all that order, all that organized thinking, it just scrambles. I mean, just immediately it scrambles. Have you ever been, those of you who are old enough to remember car radios, you're driving down the highway, you're listening to your favorite song, and then you drive into a tunnel and you lose everything. Or maybe you're driving down the road and you get out of the signal, the signal's, what do you call it, their zone or area, and it scrambles. Or you get static and maybe you pick up two signals from two different radio stations. That's what happens to, at least to my brain, when I engage other people socially. My brain just scrambled. I mean, 2 seconds ago, I was thinking logically and everything was nice and neat and tidy in this little brain of mine, and this person had to come up out of nowhere and say, nice day today, isn't it? And it just scrambles. All right, so what does that have to do with anything? Well, this. Keep in mind that small talk is all about verbal, nonverbal communication. It's got nothing to do with weather. Well, what am I communicating to this person when I say something? Now, we already explained what we communicate when we say nothing, that we're kind of rude and aloof and not likable. Well, what do we communicate when we do say something? Well, now my brain is scrambled. So whatever I say, however I respond to their query about the weather, is going to come out scrambled. It's going to be scattered. And so this person is going to think, Ken is a scatterbrain. And you know what? For that moment, that's kind of accurate because I am a scatterbrain. The way that I have learned to deal with this is to try to respond non-verbally. So somebody will say something like, looks like it's going to rain. Thumbs up. I don't say anything, thumbs up, or I may wave, I may smile. I want to communicate because I understand this is all about something that's got nothing to do with the weather. It's about checking each other out, finding out where we are, and I want to make sure this person knows without them seeing my scrambled brain and without them having to encounter dead silence. I want them to know I'm a nice guy, just like you're a nice guy, and hey, we can get along, but I got to do it without saying anything. Thumbs up works pretty good, or just a wave, or whatever. If I happen to be taking a walk, I usually walk with a cane, so, if I ever engage a critter, seldom do, but sometimes you do, cane helps push them away, so I always have my cane with me, and sometimes I just raise my cane, kind of wave to them, nod the head. That works perfect. Now, the thing is, when it comes to small talk, we don't understand all that. Hopefully you do now, but typically we don't understand all that. To us, small talk is just so superficial. I mean, what is the point? I mean, seriously, do you care about the weather? And as we said at the very onset, no, but that's the secret. Nobody cares about the weather. They're not asking about the weather. They're asking what kind of person you are. They're wanting to know if you are approachable. They're wondering to know if you're a nice guy. They're wanting to know if you're somebody they can talk to, you can relate to. Nothing to do with weather. So we are seeing now, no, it's not superficial. We think it is, but it's not superficial. It is really kind of deep. But the problem is we just lack the skill to communicate like others do, neurotypical people do, because we are not hardwired the way they are. So it's not going to come across the way that we think it is. Now, if you are not an Aspie, if you are not a person with autism, would you like to know how this sounds to us? Besides all the brain scrambling and all that, supposing somebody walked up to you and instead of saying, nice day today, isn't it? Or, I think it's going to rain tomorrow, isn't it? Supposing somebody just walked up to you out of nowhere and they said, I like to wear pink pajamas. And you're thinking, what? What does that have to do with anything? I don't care about your stupid pajamas, Well, I don't care about the weather. I mean, I do, but I don't care to hear about it because I already know about it. That is how, it comes across to many times to people with autism. Now, if you are autistic, Maybe you disagree with that. Maybe it sounds a little bit different or, to you. But to me, probably the biggest problem is that brain scrambling sensation where you just caught me off guard. You're like a dog barking out of nowhere. That is probably the best comparison, the best analogy. But you also have to keep in mind that small talk typically, while it is extremely rewarding and extremely valuable to neurotypical people, and it should be to autistic people as well, it's just not. It is not rewarding. In fact, it's not pleasant. It's not rewarding in that sense. It's not rewarding in our ability to pick up on your nonverbal cues because that's a deficit for most people with autism. We just lack that cognitive empathy. Effective empathy, we get tons of it, but cognitive empathy, we just don't get it. So that nonverbal communication, we're not hardwired to pick up on. We don't have a receiver. We don't have the FM receiver. We just have AM. Yeah, I'm showing my age, but you understand how this works. We just don't have it. We don't pick up that channel. We don't, we don't have HBO. How many analogies can I come up with? I don't know. But we just don't have it. We can't pick up on it. But neurotypical people expect us to. And when we don't respond, as I said earlier, they misinterpret those nonverbal cues, those verbal nonverbal cues, or those nonverbal cues. So it just absolutely positively is not rewarding. Well, at least to me, it's not rewarding to me. But as I get older and I'm learning why people talk about the weather when they already know about the weather and they already know we know about the weather, as I learn, this is communicating that has nothing to do with the weather. Now I understand why it's important to give a thumbs up or to smile or to raise my cane or at least to, in some positive way that doesn't require me to say anything, to at least respond. 2 rectangles showing up on your screen. The reason they are there is, so we can keep on talking if you want. We have scores and scores and scores of videos on our channel. You can just watch until you wear yourself out. But if you don't want to keep on talking, we just want to thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you all next time.